Hello guys, in this video we're going to be doing a book review, and we're doing a book review by Marcus Aurelius. The title of this book is called Meditations, one of the all-time bestsellers written by a Roman emperor, and they're talking about what Stoicism and how we can use it in our daily lives today. So stick around and we're going to tell you why you should be reading this book today.
Welcome everyone to this exciting book. It's a total different read. It's more on the philosophic part, but I think you can take away so much for your life, for your business, for everything. So thank you so much, Juan, for recommending this book, because it was a recommendation and the wish of Juan to read it. So let's maybe start first with your impressions and your general thoughts around the book.
Of course. So I'm pretty sure that even if you are a guy that lived under a rock for many years, right? And I mean like a guy that never picked up a book until he was 16, right? To actually have the interest to read a book. Every now and then, you know, there is like some guy saying, you need to read this book. Oh no, this other Adam Smith, the Wealth of Nations, or the Bible, or the Quran. Well, one of those folks happens to be Meditations, right? By Marcus Aurelius. Now, do I know the guy? No. Do you know the guy? Maybe. He was a Roman emperor. Yes, Roman emperor, like Rome, right? And Meditations, it's a little bit misguiding, the name of this title of this book. He just basically writes down his thoughts on life. And that's why it's called Meditations, in a nutshell. And he writes down how to deal with life. I guess you would put it like that, right?
Yeah, exactly. I think that's a good description. He really describes like what life is about, what you should focus on, that you should live like in harmony with nature and really fulfill your purpose, like what you're here to be for, like how you should interact with other people. And he basically brings it all back, at least that was my impression, to his, like to yourself. That sure, there are things happening around you, but no matter what happens, it's you who has the power to take on the responsibility and change your life. And it depends on how you react to the things in order to create your life. And I really like the book. There are a lot of great insights, but it's a short read. I listened to it on audiobook. It's only like 2.5 hours, but it's really, really heavy. So I was reading through it, and I think I have to read through it again and like digest it step by step, because there's so many takeaways. I think it's a mix between a spirituality book and a personal development book, like coaching, because I also see it from the coaching side. There are a lot of things we use in coaching, a lot of perspectives. And I think it's the perfect balance between spirituality and coaching or personal development. But because there's so many powerful takeaways and statements, I want to definitely go through it and digest every little part of it. And I think it would be a great book for like in your morning routine, to just go through 1 or 2 pages, depending on like the takeaway. So just taking like one thing for that day and then read it and then stop and digest it with like journaling through your day, through your week, however you want to do it. But just reading through it, and then like if you just read through it, you will just be overwhelmed. At least that was my impression. How about you?
I could not agree more. You describe, you listened to this, like you said, so it was two hours, you said?
A little bit more than 2 hours, but I mean, I listened to it on like 1.4 speed, so.
Okay, so even less than that, a little bit. But, and like what Senny was saying, right? This is not a fat book, like one of those fat philosophical books. I mean, that's what we're talking about, guys, right? It's like not that intimidating, to say the least. And yes, the message, every single word, because it's written in Old English. This is an updated version, right? Don't get scared now. Don't run away. Keep watching, right? I'm not trying to scare you when I say these things. But almost every sentence that's written in this book has a meaning, That's what
Yeah.
Xenia means by it's like heavy, like it has a deep meaning. Like the first thing, one of those sentences that I can think of is go something like, how come that which is supposed to make man not worse, make him worse?
Mm.
And then that basically translates to how come that we're gifted this amazing brain, right? To help us deal with life, calculate, strategize, and everything. This thing that's supposed to make us amazing makes us actually not amazing.
Yeah.
It's contradicting, and it's like a puzzle way like that. And now that you mentioned this, Senya, that you said it was like a perfect balance of spiritual and also philosophical. I mean, we're looking at this from the business perspective, right? So then, I mean, you're a coach, you have a business. What did you take of it from that? So how can you, the information that you read from this book, how can you apply it to your business, for example?
I think the main takeaway, and it's really funny because in the last few weeks, this comes along a lot in like different forms or in different conversations, is that if something triggers you, it's not about the other thing or the other person, it's about you. And it's your responsibility to work on these triggers and turn the triggers off. And that's exactly what he's saying, I think, over and over again. And what I meant with like, it's about you and how you respond to the world and not what happens to you from the world. Because it's not like the world is not for or against you. It's just like happening, and that's just how nature is. And it's your job to look within you and change how you react or respond to that. And that you're also not just focused, like, sure, have goals, but also be present in the moment and be grateful for what you already have. And I listened to the last part of the book today, and I was sitting on my balcony having a coffee and was listening to it. And that's exactly where this part came, was like, be grateful for where you are at right now. And I think we forget that so often, especially as business people. We always have these new goals. We always want to grow. We always want to evolve our business and also ourselves. I mean, as entrepreneurs, we a lot of time, and that's like the important thing. We do the inner work for ourselves in order to enable our businesses to grow. And that's what you need to do. If you're not growing, your business can't grow. So we always have goals and we go from one goal to the other. But sometimes we forget in all of that. And don't get me wrong, it's important to have goals and important to like want more. I'm the same.
Yeah.
But should not forget to be grateful for where we are right now, because that would help me a lot in these situations, is like remembering the times when I prayed or wished for what I have now, or
Yeah.
other people that would be really grateful and happy to have what you have right now. And that's, I think, the most important takeaway for me from the first read through that book. How about you?
On the first read, so you actually will read this, all right?
Yeah.
All right. I have to like read every sentence 3 times to get the meaning. I love what you just said right there, like the very first part of what you said, and that is that a lot of the things that are happening around us, we have no control, but our interpretation of it or how we react to it, that's the thing that we have control over. And that reminded me a lot of, we did a book review already on 10x and also Closer Survival Guide by Grant Cardone, right? And these books, but one of them is about mindset and the other one's about sales. And it's not different than what Grant Cardone was saying. And when we're doing sales and then we get, for example, a no to when we're making an offer. And this is something that I think a lot of us have dealt with. I know I'm one of them. And that is how we react when we get that no, right? And then we immediately think, it's that guy's problem. If he only thought like me, or he could see the value. And what this book is also just basically reminding me is saying, hey, the problem is not the customer saying no to your product or service, it's your reaction towards that thing.
Yeah.
Right? Because you're taking it personal, maybe you didn't deliver it right and everything. So just step back, open up your ears, read what that person is writing down, his terms, and then the problem is not the actual problem from outside, it's you, how you're reacting to that. That's the main takeaway.
Yeah, yeah, and it's really your response. And also what just came up while you were talking is and I think we talked about this in another book review before as well, is to take yourself on the way you are and not trying to be someone else. That's also a huge thing in that book, where he says like I don't know which example he exactly uses, but he's using something in the nature, like for example, a tree that produces bananas, like a banana tree, that you would never get the idea that this tree would, I don't know, like produce dates or something else, and it's like the purpose of that tree to produce bananas. And like we so often try to be something we are not. And the more, and that's also something I'm working on and doing like personality tests to discover like more who I am, and also reflecting and analyzing how I react in different situations. And that also comes back to the triggers, that like the things that trigger you. You have to learn more of like who you are. And I think that's a lifelong journey. Don't get me wrong. We will never be at the point like, oh, that's who I am. You will always evolve. You will always learn more, like an onion. You have like layer after layer, but you need to be true to yourself and live your purpose and who you are, and not trying to be someone else.
All in all, guys, like again, remind yourselves, this is actually not expensive to get. I got this on Amazon for, I think it was 8 or 7 euros. In the States, wherever you are, it might be less or cheaper, because euros is usually higher. It is a short read, right? It's also not that long to hear. It's just one of those books that you might have to take your time to sit down, like Xenia said, especially just have a cup of Joe there to really help you focus even more. Just some final thoughts on this book. I mean, from my side at least, was again, I spent more time on trying to figure out the history behind this book. Like, where was he when he was writing this stuff? Because this is like a diary, basically, meditation. Him writing in his diary. And funny enough, it was actually good that I looked it up, because the first book, for example, right? Because this book is called Meditations. There's book 1, 2, 3 up to book
9 or 10.
9 or 10, yeah. And the first book, right? He was not at home like us in front of his desk, with the lamp. No, he wasn't there. He was in the borders of what was back then Germany, actually. Germany. Yeah, not too far from Germany. He was, again, fighting Gauls, right? Barbarians, right? And he's writing the first book there. And he's just basically saying to himself, I'm about to meet the leaders of my enemies, right? My enemies are not like me. They're not like, they don't have a common tongue. They don't have a written system. They're not civilized like me. So I'm expecting for them to smell bad, to talk bad, to have no manners, to all that. And I'm not going to think less of them. I just have not pity on them, but I'm just expecting that already. So when they come at me, they start insulting me, my friend, my mom, whatever, I'm already expecting this. And I won't be angered when I see it, because I'm already expecting it.
That's so powerful. That's so powerful. Because expectations are what bring us to feeling like disappointed or hurt most of the time, because things are not happening the way we want them to be, so not how we expect them.
Exactly. That's exactly. I mean, you keep mentioning accepting yourself. I'm already accepting them for how they are. So whatever they come and say, I already expected it. Nothing's gonna shake that from me right now. Any final thoughts?
For me, like, it's definitely a must read. It's really, really like a foundational read of like life, how you should go through life. But like I said, go through it like step by step. Take your time with that book. And I will definitely also get it in a paper book, because like I love to go through audiobooks, and then if I have the feeling I want to really work with that book, I want to get it as a paper book. And this is definitely something I will go through over and over again, and not just in like doing the whole book, but doing it step by step. And that's definitely one of the books I would recommend to go with the paper version and work through it, maybe where you can also take like notes and circle things and like highlight things. That's definitely a book where I can see myself working it and like going over it over and over again, because you have so many nuggets in there, and you can always find new things you want to implement.
Yeah, just because these things weren't written like before Christ was born doesn't mean it doesn't apply today. There's a lot of stuff in there that you can still apply today, really.
I mean, these people were so like, especially this person, like was so successful. And the principles, sure, it's not about principles about like how markets work or how business works nowadays. It's fundamental how you should act and in life and how life works. And that's so of the all of the have all of the expertise about markets and different industry, whatever you want, name it. But if you don't understand how life works and how working on yourself and how you should interact with other people, it's worthless.
Yeah. Guys, with that, I hope we didn't blow your mind too much, even though it's just with a little book, right? We're trying to blow your mind. But there you have it. That is Meditations, Senia's takeaway and my takeaway from this book. Again, it was written by Marcus Aurelius, one of the last Roman emperors, one of the Marcus, actually, again, history. He was the last emperor where like Rome was great, amazing. After him, things just went down south because there wasn't like a smart guy like him. If you like this video, please give it a like, share it with someone that you think might want to know more about this book. And any questions you have, just send them over to us. We're more than happy to connect with you.
Yeah, just put them in, put your thoughts, your comments, your questions in the comments below the video. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button, and hope to see you guys next week. And thank you so much for recommending this book, Juan.
Anytime. Anytime. So guys, Senia, pleasure. Guys, till next video.
Talk to you guys soon. Bye.